Simcha, Simcha, celebration of life.
Hi, welcome to Simcha, a celebration of life. I'm your host, Eitan Berger. Jewish comedian Mel Miller, with his unique brand of comedy, has been entertaining South Africans for decades, on the stage, screen, and even radio. With almost half a century of entertaining under his belt, Mel Miller is still going strong, and in his own words, is unstoppable.
Welcome. I'm so glad to be here tonight. God, at my age, I'm glad to be anywhere, actually. You see, at my age, two things happen. Things either dry up or they leak.
This business is not conducive to good relationships, I can tell you that now, because we're always running around out of home and everything, but I wouldn't change it for anything. And I've had some highlights, lowlights, but I think the highlight was 2 years ago, my son organised a gig and I did one at the Sydney Opera House. All South African audience. It was like playing a home game.
I bought a car and 28 days later it was stolen. Would you believe a thing like that could ever happen in this country?
I had a great childhood. People say, oh, all your humour comes from sadness and pain. No, no, no. I had a great childhood. I was in Yeovil in Johannesburg, before it was Lagos Extension 4. It was a very Jewish community. And I had a great childhood. We used to go on the jaw 24 hours a day, I tell you. I used to go to school, Yeovil Primary. From there, across the road to Bernard Patley Hebrew School, learn from my bar mitzvah. From there, it was the summertime, go meet my mates. We used to go to the Yeovil swimming pool and swim till 6 o'clock in the evening, and I used to walk all the way home down to the bottom of Yeovil, get home at about 6:30, and my mother would say, well, how was your day? She wasn't panicking, calling the police and lost property and all the rest of it. How was your day? Nice, good, I'm glad you had fun. We had a great time, you know? My father said, you've got to study something. Look, my father was an accountant, my mother was an accountant, my brother was a psychiatrist, all my uncles are doctors, I mean, and they expected me to be the same, and I went to art school. And like 2 weeks before the final exam, like top student in my class, I dropped out to become an entertainer because we were offered 300 Rand a month to take a residency at the Edward Hotel in Durban. 300 Rand a month was a lot of money, believe me. And we were booked in for 3 months and stayed there for 2 years. We used to sing folk music, and one evening the audience weren't listening to the music, so I thought, you know, I may as well just tell a joke and see if I get their attention. I told a joke and they laughed. And I thought, hello. I told another one, they laughed again. So that was the long banana peel to start. And from then on, I've been telling jokes and talking rubbish for my living, you know.
I started my career 46 years ago in Durban. A lot of Indians there. I tell you, I love the Indian people. I met a guy I hadn't seen him for 30 years, Raj. I said, God, Raj, you look like what's the problem? He said, no, man, I'm depressed. So what's the problem? He said, no, my factory burned down. I said, really, when? He said, no, tomorrow.
I take on the persona on stage of a crabby old guy who's just bitching about everything, complaining. I complain about everything on stage. That's what I do. And yet I'm not like that at all.
Oh, I love this country. What have we got? Hijacking, rape, murder, crime, corruption, poverty, filth, and Felicia Mabuza Subtle.
When I got hobbies, I do woodwork for a hobby. I'm quite boring, actually. I like reading a lot. And we're normal people, you know. It's just when we get on stage, we take on a persona.
Things have gone mad in this country. You're not allowed to hit your child in public anymore. What do? Behave. Behave or I'll reason with you.
My wife says I'm the easiest going guy in the world. Oh, what would she know?
No, women are mad, man. They are mad. But we can't do without them, I suppose. Somebody's got to cook.
Through the years, South Africa has seen some of the best Jewish comedians pack the nightclubs and theatres. One such Jewish comedian is 2011 Comics Choice Lifetime Achievement Award winner Mel Miller. Miller claims Jewish humor has a long tradition dating all the way back to the Torah and the Midrash from the ancient Middle East.
You look at me, you can understand why I don't play sport. I'm Jewish. If God wanted me to touch my toes, he would have put them higher up on my body. Simple as that, you know what I mean? You want me to bend, you put food, money, jewelry, I'll bend, you know what I mean?
You can't explain Jewish humor. I don't think you can explain it. You can give examples about how we go about humor. But our humor's out of suffering and out of being kicked from pillar to post for 2,000 years. We've always come out laughing about things. I mean, if you think what's happened to the Jews over 2,000 years, 2,500 years, pogroms, Babylon, Oliver Cromwell, the Inquisition, everybody's on our case, and we still came out laughing. You work that one out. You can't explain that.
I'm from Joburg. I love that place. I tell you, it's great. I got 6 locks on my front door, 6. All in a row. Every time I go out, I lock every second one. So the that's picking my locks is always locking 3. See, the Jewish guys are writing that down. Not our bad business, the lock business.
I mean, even in the Bible, we had humor. First of all, we're the only people that argue with God. Look at all other religions. We're the only one to argue with God. And I asked Cain, where's your brother? He said, me. Am I my brother's keeper? Don't argue with me, man. You know what I mean? This is God he's talking to. Then Sarah, she was told she was going to have a baby when she was about 90 or something, and she laughed. And then she had a baby. And what did they call him? Yitzchak, which means he will laugh in Hebrew. First sign of humor in the Bible, see? We've been doing it for thousands of years, and we learn to laugh at ourselves that way. And because we can laugh at ourselves, we've survived. I think so.
Are there any Jewish people here tonight? Because I want to tell you now, if you know Jewish people, or there are Jewish people here tonight, and you're too scared to admit it because you're surrounded by weirdos, tell them never to buy a German dog. Because I tried to train a German Shepherd, never worked. German Shepherd. No. Just sat there, cost me 4,000 Rand. The lineage went back to Kaiser Wilhelm III. I said, sit! Lie down! I could see it thinking, there were the times that we used to give the orders, you know.
My grandparents spoke Yiddish, and I could understand. And that's the one thing about Yiddish, I tell you. The best curses in the world. Hey? When they say, Batsibilis in Pupik, may you grow an onion in your belly button. Now, what kind of insult is that? And then so wachsen wie Batsibilis, you grow like an onion with your head in the ground. I love it, I tell you. Oh, that's the best, I tell you. The best insults in the world came from. There's one, I can't translate it, said, may you, all your teeth fall out except one, and in that one you should have toothache. How is that for a vicious comment? Love it, I tell you. Best insults in the world, Yiddish. I tell you. Yiddish humor, that's where I got it from. See, just looking around Yeovil and looking around the people I was associated with, my friends, my suburb, my whole environment was just full of happiness and humor, you know.
Look at me, ankle problem, knee operations, hip replacement. I take 40 medications a day. I got flatulence, constipation. My lungs sound like a coffee machine. The quietest thing I can hear is a Boeing landing. I got blurred vision, and my short-term memory's gone. And on top of everything, my short-term memory's gone.
Whenever a young comic says, what do I do? The first thing I say, the first thing you must do is enjoy yourself.
And I'm in a good mood tonight. By the way, I'm also available for children's parties.
If you enjoy yourself, the audience will enjoy you. Then it's material. And if you got your material right and you're observant enough, anybody can tell a joke. Anybody. And I mean it. I will teach anybody to tell a joke. The problem is standing in front of an audience for 40 minutes, talking and observing and telling jokes. That is the difference. And we can do that, and we've been given that gift of timing, of when to say something, when not to say something, the instinct of when to come in with a joke, when to hold back on a joke. These things are instinctive.
And you, smile, you haven't come here for revenge, have you, my God? Where are you from, but? Where? I'm not talking to you, you're from England. Don't be proud.
And it's a business. It's a very hard business. And to make it in this business and to sustain it, like I have for 50 years, you've got to be really thick-skinned.
When you get to the car park tonight, if your car is missing, don't be upset, don't be pissed off, and don't be emotional. Be proudly South African and take the one next to yours, okay? Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you very much. Good night.
That's all we have time for this week's episode of Simcha. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to see any previous episodes, log on to our website, www.spiritsister.co.za. From myself, Eitan Berger, and all of us here at Simcha, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.